It's always a good idea to save a backup to make sure that you don't lose any important data. Specifically, backups serve really three important purposes. The backups will protect your custom settings as well as any changes you might have made to the original show data. There aren't too many changes that you can make to shows. However, one change that is possible is this field down here that says available for broadcast. You can always change any show to no, and what that will do, and this is really more specifically for broadcasters than for average users, the availability list settings for all that are currently available takes into account whether or not a show has been marked as a show that you want to be able to use for broadcast. So setting any one show to no here will prevent it from showing up in the availability list. And the reason that we added that, as mentioned in the broadcast tutorial, is because some of the shows, there are just a handful of them, were shows that Fred later on redid, or he found some error, or there was some other reason he didn't want to actually put the show on the air, but he thought it was worth keeping around. And so there are a few of those like that. In fact, if I want to, if you want to, you can go into show details and then enter advanced find mode to find any shows that have been marked as no. So I'll just check no, tell it to do the find, and these are the shows that are currently not available for broadcast. They're still usable for listening, but Fred didn't want to recommend them for broadcast for whatever reason. So let's go back here to the Save Backup. So anyway, backups protect settings as well as changes you might make. For broadcasters, backups preserve your history of shows that you played. So as you go through here in the availability list and you mark shows to be broadcast on a specific date, and you can do that in advance so that you can kind of build a plan for your playlist over the course of any number of days, or contiguous or non-contiguous days, and then that way that information would be saved as well. So that's another reason to save. And the final reason to do a save is because from time to time, and it doesn't happen frequently, I'll admit, but whenever I do come out with a new update to the Search and Play database, I'll let you know you can download the newest version, which will not have any of your custom settings or anything in it. And so what you would do is you would first, before you switch over to the new one, you would go to Save Backup, and you'll need to set a backup location, a place where you want to save your files. So right now it's just prompting you to do that, and you won't be able to actually do the save or restore anything until you have set this value. So let's go ahead and set a location where we would like to save our backups. I'm just going to go ahead and choose the Documents directory, and what I'll do is I will create a folder just by clicking this little button that says Create Folder, and I'll just call it My Backups. And then I'll select that as the folder where the backups will go. This tells you where that was, and it also now gives you the option to save a backup. Let's go ahead and try that now. So I'll just click on Save Backup, and then what it'll do is it will export all of the information. It actually exports three different files, which are all used later on if you want to do a restore. Those three files are, let me just drag this over so you can have a look here. This is not the one that I just created. Let's go ahead and look at the one that I just created here. Give me a second here. I'll just go to my documents over here, and let's find My Backups right there. And so these are the three files that it creates whenever it does a backup. And then those files are used over on the Restore from Backup tab here in order to restore everything back to the state that it was in at the time that you did your last backup. It'll also tell you here when when the most recent backup was done, and if you ever do a restore, it'll also tell you when you did that. That's basically all there is to it. If I want to restore, I'll just click on Restore from Backup. It already knows where the backup folder is. We told it that when we did the save, and so it will restore from that backup.